Hi, Internet! It's me, Lemon Drop! And today, got something a little special. A little special. My buddy Brian, he was like, hey, Lemon Drop, you're a puppet, right? And I'm like, yes, Brian, I'm a puppet. And he's like, have you heard of Randy Feltface? And I'm like, let me guess, he's a puppet too. And he's like, yeah, have you heard of him? And I'm like, Brian, let me tell you something. Not all puppets know each other. We don't all know each other. But hey, man, I wasn't saying that. I was just want to know if you've seen him. And I'm like, I know what you're saying, Brian. Not all puppets know each other. But yes, I know Randy. Oh, I know the puppet. I know the puppet. He's like, well, look, you give me so much crap for it. You should react to one of his videos. And I'm like, what does he do? I've heard of him. He does stand-up, right? I think he does stand-up. And Randy's like, yeah, go do that. I'm like, okay. So, I found one of his skits. Good old Randy. I think I used to live next to him. Anyway, Randy, Feltface, on drugs. Okay, let's check this out. This is about drugs. All drugs. And I would say, hey kids, don't do drugs. But let's start the video. Here we go.
Drugs!
Drugs!
Drugs! I don't do drugs. My privileged opinion of drug use is that productivity is more important than escapism.
Is it?
And also, I'm wired in such a way that if I even so much as look at a drug, I will be doing speed off a strip club toilet seat within 2 to 3 hours. So my opinion is, I should not do drugs. But then I went to Canada.
Oh, because they
Anytime
legalized.
you walk down the street in any Canadian city, you're constantly getting crop dusted with clouds of delicious smelling marijuana smoke because weed is legal there. So people walk around punching blunts like they're at a fucking folk festival. I was in Quebec City for 2 days and I started following pot smokers down the street like a cartoon character floating towards a pie on a windowsill.
Oh, yeah.
So I changed my opinion and decided I should do drugs. Has anybody here actually been to Quebec City? Anyone? It's a beautiful part of the world, isn't it? Bit confusing. French-speaking Canadians ruled by the Queen of England. Pick a fucking lane, Quebec. But I was doing shows there and I was like, I'm not going to seek drugs out, but if somebody offers me drugs, I'll definitely take them. And
That's a good way to go.
sure enough, after a show one night, I was approached by some youths. Some youths approached me and they offered me a brownie. Now, they're very fond of edible drugs in that part of the world. The pot brownie and the hash cookie and the weed cake and the wacky tobacco toasted sangy, and these youths offered me a brownie the size of a fucking John Grisham novel, so I said yes. Thank you,
be careful with those.
youths. And I took it back to my hotel room and I put on some comfortable trousers, put a bit of King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard on Spotify, and I haven't done drugs for about 9 years at this point, so I didn't want to go too hard. So I just broke off a tiny corner of this massive brownie and just had a little yum. Just a little snum. Tiny little. Because I didn't want to go too hard. But then, after like 10 minutes, nothing happened. So I ate the whole thing.
Don't
Really
do that.
fast.
Oh my gosh,
there were
don't do
cops
that.
at the door. I was like, huh?
Uh-oh.
And then I Googled how long it normally takes for a pot brownie to kick in. Does anybody want to share with the class how long it normally takes for a pot brownie to kick in? Does anybody know?
About an hour?
Yeah, about an hour. I was like,
Yup.
oh, I'm going to die in this hotel room. I started getting my affairs in order, cancelling cancelled my subscriptions to Yoga Glow and Chatterbait. Started putting a PowerPoint presentation together for my own funeral service. And then, after like 75 minutes, I realised it was just a fucking brownie. Like just a regular old drug-free chocolate brownie, lovingly prepared by the youths of Canada, just to be fucking innocently distributed amongst the tourists. So now, my opinion is, Canadians are fucking idiots.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. Oh, he is funny. You know, I've heard of the public comedian, but this is the first time I've checked him out. He's funny. I like him. I like him a lot. You know what? I'm gonna share my personal story. I'm gonna share a personal story about drugs. Okay, so I was hanging out with Andito, and he was like, "Hey, why don't you go down and get a special cookie, and we'll hang out and have fun." And I'm like, "You know what, Andito? That is a good idea." So I went on down to the store. Well, tried it on down, and I went to the store, and I'm like, "Give me one of those special cookies." And she gave me this big old thing. It was huge. And she was like, "Here you go. It's called a food bar cookie." And I'm like, "That sounds good. That sounds pretty good." And so I walked on back home. Bloop, 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 bloop. And I opened it up, and I'm like, "I got us a cookie." And, you know, we decided, well, let's just split it. Let's just split it down in half. You eat half, I'll eat the other half. And we were like, "That's a good idea." And so we ate the cookie. And about an hour and 20 minutes later, I was sitting there, and we started to laugh, and we started to laugh, and we started to laugh, and then we couldn't stop laughing. We laughed for like an hour straight. We laughed for like an hour straight. It was ridiculous. And then the whole time I was sitting in the chair, it felt like my neck, was disappearing, like my head was growing into my shoulder. I was like growing into the shoulder like this. I was sitting in the chair and I couldn't move, and I was just like, "I'm gonna die here." And Andito was on the floor. He was laughing so hard, he was crawling, and he's like, why did you do this to me?" And he's like, "Why didn't we check how much we were supposed to eat?" And I'm like, "I don't know." I couldn't even look at him. I couldn't move my head because my neck was disappearing. My neck was disappearing. It was gone. I couldn't move my head for like 2 hours. For 2 hours, I was like that, like this for like 2 hours. I was laughing. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna die here." And then Dito, he was like, I gotta go to bed. I can't do this." And he crawled to his bed because he couldn't walk. His legs didn't work. His legs did not work. And this is the best part. This is the best part. He woke up the next morning. He had to call in sick. It's still, that FUBAR cookie messed us up. Oh my gosh. I think I could have slept through like 10 earthquakes and like a firing squad. I was out. I was out. Dead to the world. And he had to call it sick. You know what? That cookie messed us up. That cookie was rough. That was a rough cookie. Okay. Anyway. There you go. Don't do drugs, kids. And if you do, don't eat the whole thing, because oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It'll mess you up. Okay, Internet. If you've ever had a yummy, delicious cookie or brownie, then hit that like and subscribe. I'm gonna go. Okay, Internet. Bye.